Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello.
Melanie has news for you.
Oh gosh, that was scary.
It's not me, guys. It's not me.
You know what? Work is making me work and I have to travel. So this is my fault again. There will not be a podcast next Saturday.
Okay, let's give a date.
Yes, let's give a date so it's a little less confusing.
Did you hear how Mel's energy drained and having to talk about her work? I was like, are you still there? Like, what is going on? Malfunction. Okay, so
it's a malfunction and work is ruining my summer.
It's a malfunction. Actually, while her summer is being ruined, to be honest, like the break for me, I'm really having a great summer in Montreal. Like I'm roaming around.
I love that.
I'm having a good time. So just more time to just be outside. I'm definitely down. So thank you, Mel. Sorry, everyone else. So that means August 1st, we're not going to have a podcast episode going live. I know we always say this, that since we're together in the same city, that we might do something. I'm going to make a promise that we might.
I can promise you I might as well. And it's actually August 2nd because even though we record on a Friday night, we launch on a Saturday so that we know podcast on August 2nd.
That is correct, everybody. Are we ready? Okay, I don't know. Like, obviously I'm asking, are we ready to jump into it? Yeah, that's the answer. But is it just me? Is it just me? Or it feels like it's slow, but then stuff happens, but then it's slow.
Yeah, my feelings don't really know how to wrap itself around a lot of the things that happened this week. So we'll start digging. Let's start digging into it. Yes.
We'll figure it out. I'm gonna start where all emergencies happen, right? Like you're just at the hatchet range. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to call my ex-husband who said, hey, don't be a part of my life. And then I'm going to call him and be like, it's an emergency. Leave the police department and come to the hatchet range. Like, I don't know about you, but not many emergencies sound like that.
But we're talking about Lulu here and not understanding actual emergencies. Since she's been back, everything has been an emergency.
It has. And honestly, I'm finding this stuff so funny. Look, the Lulu Brooklyn thing obviously took up a lot of space for so long. For us, things weren't super satisfying on the Lulu front, but I am finding her navigating this Rocco Obrecht situation so satisfying and so funny because like before Lulu steps into the hatchet range, you have Obrecht, hanging with James. It was just so cool seeing them together again. And it's just, Obrecht is Obrecht, right? There's so much that comes with just saying her name. But watching her reappearance over this past week, I think one thing for me that's clear, it's that who Obrecht is so different now. Not just like her, but I mean her connection and her ties. I just find the context of Port Charles has changed so much that I feel that the space for Obrecht is so different for who she can be if you think about who she was in scenes with this week. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I do though, because I couldn't put words to it and I feel like we're still not quite there, but I feel what you're feeling in the sense that watching her with James and mentoring him and where she fits and her relationship she has where she can bring in her energy but still be accepted in all kinds of worlds. Like she's that character that could fit into any situation, but I can also see how she is being put in a situation to grow and nurture a different generation in a different way.
Like, who could believe that Spinelli is taking out Obrecht, right? And that they're hanging
out.
And the fact that Obrecht is sitting there being, so nobody was going to keep me posted on my family. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny to see Obrecht in the position where she's like, hello, you're not keeping me in the loop. What is going on? Everyone's lives are falling apart. So it's just funny to watch her in that matriarchal role. And it's not, because it was always just Brit and her. And it's so funny watching her there that her life and family has expanded way beyond Brit, basically, in terms of the evolution of her character. So just Obrecht in itself is just freaking amazing. So while Lulu lures Dante to the hatchet range, they then make their way to the Metro Court. This is like the most inefficient.
Right? Okay, thank you.
Like a lot of the times when it's funny because I thought this last week too. Whenever I see Lulu talking to anybody, I'm literally talking to the TV going, this could have been a text. This could have been an email. Why are to this. So these two basically talk about Rocco, Britt, whatever, and then they make their way to the Metro Court, and it could not have been more satisfying, because we saw earlier that Rocco is like, ew, mom, why are you here at my work?
Yeah.
You're too much. And that's the thing, that totally goes against Lulu being a cool mom.
Absolutely.
Cool. And it's just him kicking her out and then literally chilling with Obrecht, laughing with Obrecht.
Selfie, girl. Selfie.
With Obrecht, and literally looking at his parents like, guys, do you mind? Like, I'm working. As if there would be no big reaction from his parents. And it's really interesting watching Rocco assert himself, come into his own, really just seeing his mom and parents for who they are. He very much understands their position and why they might feel the way that they feel, but he seems to feel a type of way about the fact that they're not flexible enough to include his point of view, and they're not allowing him room to have a point of view.
Okay, so that was so delightful. I must have watched that like 3 times, because I feel like Dante is going to get it. Lulu's never going to get it. This is the point in time, I paused on her face, that her son has outgrown her. We're done. He is so far past. Like, this is the point where, you talked about that whole Gio situation. So all of these circumstances that are going to happen with Rocco is going to turn her to Gio, because at this point in time, Lulu is Gio's only like friend. Emma's off busying a mission with the professor. This is the turning point. That is the point. And I was like, I love this so much.
Wait a second. When you say that is the turning point, what exactly do you mean?
I mean that she's still coming to grips that people have changed. She's still treating Rocco like 5 years ago. Rocco has emotionally found space for Britt, for Obrecht, and he's going to continue pursuing that relationship with Obrecht. And Lulu doesn't have a choice. She cannot, there's nobody in her life at this point in time that actually listens to her and she can tell them what to do, how to feel. And she thought Rocco was like that last person because it's her kid. So right now, the only person that will hear her, tell her that she's right, and wants to be around her is Gio.
Okay, because that's what I thought you were referring to. And I was just having visuals because the way you're framing it, this will be the person to hear her. And I agree with that. But I'm also having a really sad thought. Sad for Lulu, not for me. You point out her struggle, that people have changed and she's running out of people that would listen to her, right? So not only can I see that Gio would be this one person who would kind of allow space for Lulu to Lulu, but that this man boy, this new man boy on the verge of man, could be the one person that actually helps her realize stuff. Right? But I could see that, right? I could see that he'd be willing to hear her, but I could maybe see how she would be willing to hear from Gio to be flexible with Rocco. Like, I can kind of see them being on equal footing.
Please be nice to my brother.
I mean, you see it, right? Like,
I do.
Because, Gio might live with Emma, but Emma's got her own thing. Notice that. They showcase them as these two people that are friends, regardless of whether or not there could have been a hint of romance. Right now, all we got is like care, right? They care about each other, and they very much have their own lives. And he knows exactly what she's doing with hers.
Yes.
Okay, so like she's busy, okay? And then you point out that Dante could come around. And I hope that he does, because he said a thing, and I was like, Dante, really? When he sees Rocco, he says, don't believe what you hear. Britt is no hero. I'm like, dude, earlier this week, you called Joss your sister, which I absolutely adore and love.
Yeah.
And Britt died saving your sister. So how can you turn around and say Britt is no hero and then feel the way you do about Sunny at the precinct?
Okay, so here's the thing. I think it's like a proximity to Lulu thing. Like, anybody who's in proximity to her, sometimes your IQ drops a bunch. And then you recover. Yes. And then he gets that distance again, and then he recovers. Like that hug in that moment with Brooklyn, there was distance.
But I could see this idea when you talk about that he could get there to understand. And I think, okay, yeah, that's kind of true if, let's say, you use examples like with Brooklyn, right? We saw Dante be that black and white version of himself, but then we saw a soft moment with Brooklyn. So they definitely did show that, yes, Dante can be very harsh. He can be very tunnel vision at times, but he can come down. When we see Lulu, we see a character that goes up and cannot come down. And honestly, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun because I think I know what could be happening. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say this to everybody. Remember how everyone responded when I said, I think Willow and Drew are going to have an affair.
Yes.
Okay?
Well,
I
I was so in denial for so long.
I just want to point that out. They had a scene. I saw a moment. I said it on the podcast. I posted it, and people had their opinions. They did not necessarily agree. You didn't even agree. Like, what did you say?
No, I totally didn't.
You're like, are you Delulu? Absolutely not. That's not what's going on. And I'm just saying, I see, okay, the potential. You know, there's a lot of like, let's use Ava's past to get Cody to seduce her. That past was Morgan. There's been a direct comparison that Tracy made between Morgan and Gio. We also saw Lulu do this like weird cool mom flirty thing.
So
which is like,
weird.
No, a drunk guy is hitting at me in a public space with so many people around. If only I was allowed now.
Okay, I love this because you've been married for so long that you didn't say hitting on me, you said hitting at me.
You know what? We were playing boxing on the video game. My arms were so sore. So so sore this week. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so I'm putting it out there that I see a May-December romance that may come out in the November sweeps.
I love it.
Okay?
You heard it here first. Actually, for the third time.
Yes. Yes. We'll just keep saying it. Anyways, but I loved even more how Obrecht handled Lulu because the amount of like subtle FUs and space she was creating between Lulu and Rocco was phenomenal, okay? Yes. She basically highlighted how unreasonable Lulu is being. I am so sorry for having been in this vicinity. Okay. Kid. And just like all of the things that she said really did not make Lulu look good, and it just sucks that she can't see that you need to kind of support Rocco's view rather than fight it because it'll only make the space so much bigger. But I have to admit, the complexity that has become Rocco's character and the position he's in, I absolutely adore it. The setting off of the Geo thing, also just the Danny-Rocco relationship. I just love that we're giving space because sometimes you feel like, okay, like these are our future generation. I guess we're gonna have to wait for storylines, and I love that we don't have to wait and they're getting those storylines now.
Yes, I love that too.
Also confirmed that Britt is gonna be Britt.
Yes, it's so exciting. Did you notice, and if I'm jumping ahead, stop me, the slip up that or the on purpose thing that Obrecht said?
What did she say? Because I was like literally like analyzing how she spoke to Jason, and I felt it was so pointed. What did you?
Okay, because it can be interpreted as like she says something about like it's good to see somebody who was dead,
see him alive,
doing so well, or something along those lines, referring to the fact that he's dead and brought back to life. And then she said, "My Britta would be happy to see that." But that could mean like up from heaven, but we know, and he caught it. It felt very in the moment and a clue for Jason.
Yeah, you know, it did. And also it's just, he is having, you know, he's thinking, right? He already thinks he saw her, well, he did see her. But in that moment, because initially when we saw the episode where it was like follow up at the airport, I was thinking to myself, like, what is Britt doing? What's her deal? And I'd posted that, kind of questioning what she's been up to. So when I saw the moment with Obrecht, I feel like maybe I had it all wrong. Because you had Dalton and Sidwell at Natalia's memorial refer to their other boss, right? And we know that Dalton is doing some type of research. So initially, on that whole Monday monologue episode, at the end we see Britt go, so happy to be back. So, and also she's in the location of wherever that package that Joss and Vaughn are tracking. So at that moment, I'm like, okay, so basically, is Britt that person? So what is her connection to Sidwell? Where does she fall on all of that? And has she just been working on a cure? So right away, I was thinking that. But then when I was watching and I could see Obrecht talking to Jason, I'm like, if anybody would be working with this Sidwell, maybe more Obrecht than Britt.
With Brit not knowing the gravity of the situation.
Maybe. So I definitely feel that connection. Obrecht might have come back for Rocco, but it's very clear she has ties, if you will, in air quotes. And like you pointed out, happy to see Jason, happy to see an ally, kind of. Is how I
Yes,
felt.
yes.
So that I'm super interested in. And then I don't know. What did you think about Carly and Jason's conversation? He tells her this really big deal. I thought I saw Brit.
Can I just say that I have to give this man props for his videographic sexy memory?
Yeah. So I mean, the man had a plane ride. He saw her and then he remembered all of their moments. And then, you know, he tells Carly something like, I think I saw Brit. And then Carly's like, come on, no. She's not me or you. Only you and I can resurrect. And he's like, remember all the times I've been dead? What is this conversation? The context, like it wasn't as, let's say, mysterious as rocks falling on Jason. Again, no body. But the whole Brit thing felt very real, I guess, because she was in the city with Obrecht, but it sounded way more suspicious when Jason was asking her for the full-blown story. It just didn't sound right, you know? And it's like, to me, I'm just like, you've been back all this time and you find out Brit's dead and you actually didn't ask Carly about the details of everything that happened, knowing that Joss could have died.
That's so true. I feel like Jason hasn't really dug into a lot of stories. Like, I'm glad he's focusing on his son, but he has a lot to catch up on.
And that was what was disappointing with his return, is that we didn't get to see him catch up on stuff that might have mattered to him, like Brit, you know? When he came back, there was all this intensity between him and Carly, and then they completely separated the two, and they're like, here, stay with Anna in the corner. Stay over there. And so,
I mean, makes sense.
And so it's only recently that we kind of got a character back. And so he's getting all the details, and then Carly says something that, again, alarm bells for Jason. Well, she died in Obrecht's arms 2 hours.
I know, and I'm like, damn, why didn't we think of this?
Right? And then I went to the memorial. Therefore, she's not here for real. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely looking forward to that, because I kind of like this idea. You know, I cannot wait to see the scenes, the Jason Obrecht scene where he might question her and he kind of gets those hints he needs to pursue Brit. But may I say, logistics corner, how do you possibly see Brit at the airport and not be like, Spinelli, scan the manifest.
Oh my gosh.
Airports.
Thank you.
Ugh. Okay, so look, I'm going to say this. I referenced a little bit ago the idea that when Jason came back, there was this big intensity between him and Carly. Let's be realistic. You and I try to follow where the story goes, you know? Not going to fight it. But I just think you cannot have Brit return without the intent. You know what I mean? Like, Sasha laid it out for us. Hey, Jason, do you think about being with a person? Do you think about being with a person that could handle Carly? I don't know who that could be. And then he sees Brit at the airport. So I mean, they really are setting it up. And when Brit left, she had done this interview and she was talking about like her stint on the show and her characters. And honestly, she made it pretty clear. Probably didn't think she'd be going back, but that she made it pretty clear that she wasn't down with the Cody Brit pairing.
Okay, which makes sense. They didn't have the chemistry.
No, and so she was just saying it felt very brother-sister, but she definitely was fond of the, you know, the Jason-Brit chemistry. And I mean, look, at the time, I was very much rooting for them, like completely.
Yes.
And if at that point in time, during the Jason-Brit era, which was really cool, if they were going to do it for real with Jason and Carly, I agree with the actors who said, if we were to do it, it would have been better had they done the marriage in a way where they're like, oh, ew, we're besties, we don't want to. And that they fell in love in time. Like, I felt that if you had done it that way, it'd have been way more believable. Meaning, like, they were going to do this, there were no feelings involved, and then they were going to build this life together, and there was going to be a slow build where that became real. I think that could have been the opportunity for Jason and Carly. But now, honestly, because of how it's going, all of his like fantasies and remembering Brit, it's clear that that's definitely going to be their romantic path. When I see the Sunny Carly scenes, part of me is like, well, it's not a terrible consolation, because if they do that build up, and I feel like they've always done it pretty well, I think, the Sunny Carly, every time they've reunited, it's always been this back and forth tease, this play, and it's always been interesting. So I feel like, I guess I would be okay with it. I don't know. I mean, I liked Carly doing her own thing, but they don't really have anybody. When they had the original Brennan, I was down. But now this Brennan kind of doing all this stuff behind her back, I don't see Carly being with somebody who does that.
No, 100%. Like I'm so curious to see kind of like how all these stories weave together and what that means, because we're coming to a point where there's a Joss involved, there's a Vaughn involved, there's a Britt involved, there's a Jason, there's a Brennan, there's a Carly. Like it's going to be so explosive, and then where do all the pieces fall?
Exactly, because the thing is, to be honest, if there's no one else there, yeah, okay, I could see Carly with Sunny, but I mean, there's no one else on the canvas, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But speaking of all of those like ties, so look, Anna discovered a thing.
Oh my gosh! Wait, all I kept thinking about was you, because all I hear about it is they're trying to make Anna a good spy. Look at her. She's a good spy.
Like, did I tell you or did I say that last week? I'm like, how do you know? Yeah, they're totally working this in. We're like, you know what? No more Anna Banana. She's going to be Anna's the spy again. I'm like, whatever. And so, like, yeah, they're working overtime. But you know what? I will say this. I could buy in to past Anna. Like, in the Dante Anna conversation, regardless of how I feel about her now, and I don't care how many times you tell me she's a good spy, she's a banana to me, okay? Forever and always. But I definitely was intrigued and liked that angle of Anna thinking back to the beginning and Dante posing that question. Would you have wanted someone to pull you out? So
I did love that.
So I love that question. I found it interesting. And part of me is like, well, yeah, I think that's an interesting thing for Anna's character. Like, if you want me to take Anna more seriously, then cool. Take Anna down that journey of reflecting on her own life. But then there's another part of me that feels like, but that kind of people with experience are being a little condescending to Joss. You know what I mean? Like, look at Dante now, right? He's this police guy, detective. I'm like, how do I not know what they're called? They do law and handcuffs.
I mean, not often, but like sometimes.
And then you have Anna, who is, again, in air quotes, a respected spy with experience. So, I mean,
I can feel your air quotes.
So if you think about that, it's like, I mean, come on, guys. You know, Anna, you made choices a long time ago. They were your choices, and you built a life off of those. So, I mean, again, does Joss not have the right? And I don't think she's as naive as you make her, but I do understand your idea that she has less life experience than you. But I do feel like she has more life experience than most, including your granddaughter, Emma.
Yes.
So I did kind of like that. I liked how they in that moment were using Joss's storyline as sort of a reflection for Anna, but also an out for Joss. That's also how I saw it. Having Dante pose that question, would you have wanted someone to pull you out? I mean, I feel like for me, that's a clue with regards to the path Joss is set on. I do love WSB agent Joss. I do think she should have more experience, but you know that I don't think she's ever going to leave this underworld. She can never be a civilian again. I don't think. I don't think Joss could ever go back to that. And it means she will be living in the shadows, and I think that part of her time will be living in the shadows in the WSB way, but another part of living in the shadows is going to be the mob. And I think it would be interesting to watch, you know, Jocelyn kind of come to that conclusion, having so much experience judging Sunny's world, and now she's working with the WSB, in air quotes, doing the good thing, the right thing, the opposite of Sunny. And I think it's going to be interesting as she goes down this path to kind of realize that the line is pretty blurry between the world of the WSB versus Sunny's world. And I think she's striving for making the world a better place and helping, but helping, as we've seen from all of the experienced spies on the show, and I'm talking Valentine, Brandon, like everyone else, we see that, you know, doing the right thing looks an awful lot like the bad thing sometimes.
Yes.
And so I think that would be an interesting journey for Jocelyn to come to a point to kind of recognize, like Laura does see, that there is a balance of power that's maintained by Sunny, the lesser of two evils. He's on this path, but a lot of his choices keeps Port Charles safe. So I really do like this WSB thing. And I mean, I think the fact that Anna told Dante and not Jason tells us that we want to keep these secret for a little longer.
But also that she has to distance herself a little bit from Jason for there to be space for Britt.
Absolutely, right? That's so subtle, but she would have to stay away from Jason because she wanted help on this. But with that information, Jason keeps a lot a secret. You know, he definitely can keep a secret for from Carly. But I don't see Jason being reasonable when it comes to Joss.
No, they're all like his children. Like he's been a part of that family. He's seen them grow up. There's no way he would be able to keep that to himself.
No. So again, all connected, and I am really interested to see where this all lies because even though I see the Jason Britt reunion, to me in my mind, the only thing I can kind of think of is like
Mm-hmm.
their obstacle in air quotes would be maybe sides in terms of Sidwell.
Yes.
And coming back to that full circle moment where Jason gets caught between Carly and Britt again, because that's gonna happen, right? Once this comes to a head and Britt comes back, Joss's secret comes out, what Brendan has done has come out. So now you're gonna see, you know, Jason be really angry and protective of Carly and Joss.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see those being the barriers between him and Britt. And it's about watching how he navigates that. Like last time, the marriage was really crucial for safety.
Yes.
Right? So he doesn't have to marry Carly. So it is easy, right? You could kind of talk it out with Britt and be like, I know what it looks like. I know it looks like I have strong feelings. So this is where the line has to be drawn. But it's interesting how you're going to bring up, like, I feel like the Carly, Jason, Britt conflict is kind of necessary. It's kind of like a reset. Here's the conflict again. What does Jason do this time? Because
Oh,
Sasha
100%.
right? Because Sasha says, are you going to choose you and choose space to have a life? So I definitely think the like Carly Jason conflict is necessary, but it might look touch and go from Britt's perspective to watch him so protective of Carly on the heels of the Brennan thing. And that might make, you know, because Britt's not going to stick around. Like, if you watched his flashbacks, she wasn't
Yes.
sticking around. You know, you made your decision. You want to go marry Carly. I don't need to hear more of this. So I can definitely see that part. I'm just curious where she falls on the Sidwell front. But I think they're going to, you know, end up together ultimately.
Such a Romeo and Juliet story we've got here.
Well, I think, you know, it's kind of like with Sunny. There's some people who've come in that could have been a partner, right? Like Natalia could have been a partner to him. Ava could have been a
Yes.
partner. And when I say that, I mean strong ones, like Carly level, this person suits his life. And I
Exactly.
think that Britt could definitely be one of those people, you know, that could do it. You know, like Carly is in that world, and I definitely think Britt could be in that world because her life is so gray.
100%.
Okay, so speaking of our old co-chief, Portia's made a call. She is gonna quit. She typed up 2 sentences. She ready.
That's what I said last week. I'm like, I am so over this. Just like go to jail already. Like this is ruining so many people's lives,
Okay,
including mine.
but I'm just saying, Portia, take him down with you. You know what I mean? Like, you
Right?
did something wrong, and I
Come
think
on.
good on you for finally owning that and like releasing yourself of all that mess. But like, dude, drag Drew down with you. Are you kidding me? He made your life miserable. And so, what did you think about the moment? Because I kind of loved it. I'm like, wow, Portia's giving that Jordan energy, and it's finally not directed at Jordan.
I definitely feel like she was channeling something else. So are you talking about the moment
Willow
with her
exchange.
confrontation? Okay, okay.
Yes, yes, with Willow.
I definitely feel like she literally gave herself like a little pep talk before anything happened that shit. I choose to be anybody today, and for my husband to love me, I'm gonna be a Jordan.
She's not a Jordan. She can't come close. But I was saying she was giving her that energy because she's always ready to attack Jordan. And so she was finally aiming that elsewhere, which was definitely nice to see.
No, fair. I just meant she embodied a little bit of confidence, a little bit of like, hey, let me do something outside of the things that I can't control and spiraling and complaining about it. And she took charge. So that was like the little piece that I feel that she embodied of Jordan in the sense that like she took control of the situation, was finally fed up and hoping to have somebody on her side.
I definitely see what you
Exactly.
mean, that it felt like she was coming back into her own because she said it herself over the past week, you know, that she was taking her power back.
Exactly. And like that whole confrontation with Willow was so entertaining because, you know, like we said, if somebody's going to be evil, we want to hear them own it. Like if she's going to go full
Yeah.
Mel, which we're so close, guys, we're so close. I want to see it. I want to see more of that evil. I knew, we all knew she wasn't going to be weirded out by it. She was going to be all in for it. They were going to plot together. Like at this point of the week, that's what we knew. Willow was on board with anything that would bring Michael down. And Portia's disgust was so beautiful. Like the face acting with the two of them was so on point. It was incredible. What did you think of it, of that scene yourself?
Oh gosh, I wanted to like smack Willow. To be
Well, that
honest,
too,
she
always.
comes in, she's like, here's a wedding invitation so you can come to like my personal life world. She's like, how dare you speak about my personal life? And I'm like, get out. If she can't speak about your personal life, then why is she invited to your wedding? And it was just ridiculous. She's like, oh really? He's blackmailing you. And I think later on in the week, she kind of air quotes that piece to Curtis,
Yes.
which I would not believe. But my favorite part of it all, because again, this was like the lead up, the start of the cracks
Yes.
in Willow's direction and punches. But I loved when Portia said, okay, I've tried handling you with kid gloves. And I absolutely love that statement because it's how everyone has had to deal with her, including Elizabeth.
Mhm.
You know, she had some kind of a talk with Willow at one point, and Willow was going on and on about her life and Drew and Drew and Drew. And I liked how Elizabeth was gentle, but like, well, are you in the picture somewhere? Like, hi.
Yeah.
She does not think this thing is gonna last, and she's being really careful about it. Like, she made a decision. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure I follow Maxie's plan. I'm just gonna do my role in this wedding and leave it at that. Leave it at
I
that.
love it.
But what I wished happened, because while Portia is in there with Willow, and I mean, yeah, it's disappointing but not surprising. And I was just like, where is Portia to be? How are you sitting here telling me about all the things Michael did to you? Did Michael slam the gavel? Did Michael make that decision? Exactly how did he manipulate? So I'm just saying, if you're telling her your fiance is blackmailing me to do this awful thing,
Yes.
and you see that Willow is down for that, are you kidding me? I would be recording this. I would be dragging both of them down with me. Are you kidding? And the fact that that's exactly why Portia's not a Jordan. She might have embodied her confidence, but definitely not her strategic mind. But the funny thing about Portia is I feel so differently about her so quickly depending on the scene.
Yes.
The idea that, yeah, you're right, she did embody a little bit of that Jordan-esque, confidence. And then I get annoyed, hey, why aren't you strategizing and seeing this and taking them down with you? Why are you willing to just go down with the ship without taking everybody else, And then I see her in scenes with Curtis and I'm pro Portia. So the way I feel about her fluctuates a ton. And when Curtis comes to see her, I was like, you sound like Kai telling Portia, I'm gonna do the right thing, even if it means betraying a friend. I'm like,
yes, I cannot.
On the back? And the fact that out of nowhere, it's like, it only works and it's only okay if Curtis is doling out, the attitude and the rejection. But when she's meeting him where he's at, being like, hey, you're mistreating me, you're rejecting me all kinds, so I'm just gonna take space because it hurts and it's too much for me and I'm not coming home. He's like, why'd you come home last night? It's for work, right? Not because you're rejecting me? She's like, no, I wanted to sleep here one last night. But where do you get off suddenly, Carrie?
Exactly. Oh my gosh. But like, just Port Charles as a whole has a problem with technology, cameras, texting, voice recorders. Like, it would make it really different.
I know. So like now Curtis is talking her out of what she was going to do because he has a plan. So at this point in time, it just felt to me like Curtis always one step behind, but it turns out his ammo was stronger than I thought it would be. Because at this point, we know what Willow did, right? That there's bigger things at play. We know that Nina confronted Drew believing he was the one to do it. Drew sits down with Willow realizing, I think it's you. And I know what would solve this. France.
Oh, yes.
But France is a joke, right? You do realize that? Because how many times has Michael tried taking her to France and it doesn't work out? So that's a clue to me, right? A little nugget that the fact that he wants to take her to France on their honeymoon, they're not going to go. She never gets to France. Like, that's her whole shtick. She never gets to France.
I know. It was so well played, and like the concern on Drew's face. Like, we all don't like Drew. He is gross.
Mm-hmm.
But if Drew is concerned about your life choices,
I know.
You really gotta question what you're doing.
I know. And I laugh about that, right? Because we don't keep secrets from each other. And I'm laughing and I'm like, isn't that your whole deal with Michael? He doesn't share everything with me. And I mean, look, at this point, actually, no. At this point, she knows he's not sharing everything with her because Portia told her. And
Yeah.
she knows damn well she's not sharing everything with him. So at this point, I'm like, I've had enough with Miss Delulu here. So now it's wedding time. So Drew is the first to figure out what Willow did, and slowly, the information trickles into Nina's brain.
That was so funny.
And then she had the most subtle breakdown as she exited the bridal suite. Completely unalarming, unassuming. She was just like, oh, the car. And I'm like, what are you doing, woman? Just walk out. Nobody needed to hear anything. Just turn around and take your breakdown to the pews.
Nobody was paying attention. She could have like quietly snuck out of the room.
Oh my gosh.
Without
Okay.
big tears.
So we're at this like 5-person wedding, okay? We're there, we see we see Maxie's work at play. What I couldn't take is how Elizabeth is handling Obrecht, right? Because we're like, wait a second, are you delusional? Like, why are you protecting Drew? Why can't you let Obrecht say what she needs to say to him? And then the fact that Obrecht called her out.
Yes.
I like that. If you look at it, you have Elizabeth trying to like manage Obrecht, kind of maybe in a patronizing way. But what Obrecht is calling you out for is real. With her antics with Nicholas, it caused confusion and delay in the investigation looking into Britt's death. And that's real. And that's what led to her breakup with Scott.
Yes.
And it is a big deal that she lost her daughter. So I find it's one thing to maybe manage her with wedding antics, but this was real. And I felt like she brought that same light attitude to that moment.
Yes,
and I know that Obrecht is a villain, but this is one of those moments where what you did actually did have an impact on a mom who lost a child. And Elizabeth, while has all of her kids right now, absolutely knows what that feels like.
Yes, absolutely.
So I kind of had mixed feelings about like the Elizabeth Obrecht interactions. And when I was talking earlier about the place that Obrecht takes, which is so different and I think bigger and a bit more legitimate and respectable, like her moment with Alexis in the bridal suite.
Yes.
I feel like that was definitely a moment to show you, Obrecht has a different standing in Port Charles.
Absolutely.
And she had me laughing. The amount of times she kept reiterating, so there's no open bar at the church.
Oh my gosh, that was so amazing. Elizabeth, like, at the reception. I love how she repeated that to Ava. Like, there will be alcohol. Like, we can get through this. We just got to make it to the reception where the alcohol is.
I mean, it was like watching how everybody managed being at that wedding was really interesting. The like Rick Ava banter, and the fact that Rick can't own how disrespectful he's being to Ava. I feel like you definitely deserve whatever is coming to you. So Scout goes to see her new stepmommy. Do I call you mom?
I cannot.
I felt for Alexis. I mean, I think Willow, like when Willow answered her, I was like, well, there's a glimpse of someone I knew once.
Yes, absolutely.
But I definitely felt for Alexis in that moment. And I will say this, I absolutely love the way that Alexis handled Drew. A lot of people have the luxury of getting to hate him openly.
Yes.
And Alexis doesn't have that same luxury, and she has to be really careful, and she has Scout to think about, and it means accepting so much that's outside of her control, like the concept of him moving away with Scout. And I just like the way that she handled him. I like the way that she tried to tell him that you're a good person and you are gonna do things this way.
Yes.
Because that means you're putting her first. I loved how she did all of that.
So good. So
and I mean, he heard her, and it just, for me, brought me back to that storyline where Drew just got obsessed with sending Scout to boarding school. Hey, I was out of your life for so many years. I've barely raised you. I'd love to send you to this, like, prestigious, like, boarding school. And she was so sad. I don't know if it was a boarding school, but Scout didn't want that. So Scout didn't want to change school. And this is when she was living with her mom.
Yes.
Why would she want to move? And I love that Alexis put her foot down and made Drew see Rocco is her brother. You may not see it that way, but that is how your daughter sees it. So I'm definitely worried for Scout, and I'm hoping, I don't know, if things get hectic in Drew's life, that he'll just sort of do what he did previously and allow Scout to have more of a stable space with Alexis, or things could get really heated and Alexis will feel justified. Like something would have to happen for her to feel justified and really going for it and taking Scout from him.
It's so interesting because we're seeing all these different shades of Willow and all these different changes and her like Nell takeover. And then you have Drew's character where they're trying to highlight that, oh, there's still good in there, whereas Obrecht is trying to highlight that there's evil brewing within Willow. So they're making like this really kind of like interesting contrast of even though Drew is bad, he's not that bad, and Willow's good, but holy crap, is she evil?
It is weird how people are kind of viewing this, and I kind of like that being put out there in the
Yeah.
in a discussion that, like, especially you see it between Nina and Ava, like when Nina is
Yes.
putting heavy blame on Drew, you have somebody with distance to Willow go, but Willow made her choices. So I love
Exactly.
that being put to debate. So Willow, when you talk about her and Nell, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm like, go Nell, because Nell
Honestly,
did it right,
honestly.
and I cannot stand this weeping Willow even as a villain. I'm like, ugh. And so she hears it from Curtis, and that's the thing. Going back to the Portia Willow conversation, this idea of like he wants to blackmail me and make it look like your ex and the father of your child is a drug addict. She's like, so be it. I don't care. Unless Drew slept with my mom, then I have a problem with all of these actions.
Okay, but like she called it an affair. Like, get your act together,
Okay,
lady.
so she hears it from Curtis, and it actually had an impact because this has been the debate all along. Okay,
Yes.
and now that scene between Carly and Nina is really making sense because it felt so harsh at the time. Carly's criticism of Nina as a parent, I felt it was uncalled for. Of course, Nina was tiptoeing, but like Obrecht pointed out, you were new at this, and there was definitely a history that I feel absolutely justifies why Nina tiptoed around Willow and why
Yes.
she didn't step up. But hearing Willow criticize Nina and not at all questioning herself as a mother,
Exactly. Gosh.
like, so the truth comes out, and it turns out it did shake her. Okay, were you shocked that this news had any impact? Because that was the long standing debate. Would this matter given how far things have gone and how far Willow is so removed from herself? Were you surprised that it mattered?
I actually am. I didn't think it would affect her in the way that it did,
No.
but she's still so like it was so wild. And you mentioned some of it of how she approached Nina, the words that she used towards her. So she's doing that thing where she's taking zero, still has yet to take accountability for her actions. So if her mom had truly told her okay, she didn't say the thing that she should have, but literally every single person in Port Charles told her she was making a bad choice.
Yeah.
Are you really telling me that in this delicate situation with your mother, trying to navigate all of this, that I don't believe that if we had a time machine and Nina went back and said that would have done it.
But I love what Nina said. She was like, there came a point, Willow, where it didn't matter what I said. So I like that
Yes.
that came across. And the fact that Willow is placing this all on Nina, like, had you told
It's
me,
gross.
my whole life would have been different. And
Lies.
that's the thing for me. Like, you talk about accountability. So for me, I'm like, so Willow can keep track of all the people responsible for her life imploding. It used to be
Yes.
Nicole, now it's Nina, because only your mom sleeping with your mistress is reason to stop, okay? Not your vows, your husband, your family, your kids. The fact
Exactly.
that all of that fell on Nina and none of her choices were bad. You understand what I mean? Like, she's placing
totally.
Nina as that starting point, but there were so many other choices that infuriated other people. There were so many other choices. I mean, she said it herself. I have burned every bridge to the point where he's all I have.
But here's the thing, like you gonna think a guy's cute and maybe even be attracted to him, or vice versa. But you don't have to have sex with him in the nursery. Like I'm just saying.
But that's the thing. I wouldn't have done that had I known my mom slept with him. And that's what, me too. Like you said the word before, like she used the word affair. I was like, girl, you were the other woman.
Exactly.
Dial it back just a little. You don't think your mom was shocked that her married daughter was sleeping with her lover? You don't think that took her for a loop to kind of realize that? What I didn't like though is that Nina said, oh, I hated him and I still hate him and I was sleeping with him to get him away from you. Honestly, that was a piece of information no one could prove and was completely
I know.
unnecessary, right? It's not like Drew knew that that was why. It wasn't at all. I think that even Nina doesn't understand or fail to say, like, and again, she didn't need to unless asked. But the truth
Right?
is, she did start to see a warmer side to Drew. And she
Yeah, she
was
did.
excited about him. And she shared that excitement with Sasha.
Yes. I wish she was more honest with about her feelings.
And you know what I mean? So I thought it was so weird. If you're going to divulge added details that could, shift things, the fact that she shared a detail that hurt her more and that made her look worse, I don't understand. Like, we all know that that was an accurate thing, but again, it did not need to be said. But what was also accurate was that they were getting along, that they absolutely were getting along. And he betrayed both of them. You know what I mean? Like, he went after her daughter and felt that he could. And Nina's not even saying, like, I didn't say anything because he also pressured me.
Exactly.
Because of Drew, my relationship with you improved. So that's the thing. That's a piece that's also missing, right? That Willow was a bargaining chip between
Yes.
Nina and Drew. I mean, again, I know that it looks worse
So
for
bad.
Nina
Yeah.
to also divulge that, but I'm just saying, if you want a chance at something real, all of this would need to come out. But I was really grossed out, and to kind of come all this way. And I remember those scenes when Nina was so vile with Willow, and how hard, it was watching them in scenes because
Yeah.
Nina just did not know how to handle herself and take accountability. And then to be in a scene where the roles were 100% reversed. Like, Nina did do a lot of things, but I actually understand her choices. And to hear Willow just throw Nina's past in her face and go, like, well, I should never have given you another chance. And, like, to me, way too far when she said,
Wait.
Nell is lucky. She's lucky she never found out that you were her mother. I was like, girl, you're like, Nell is lucky she didn't find out you were her sister. You suck.
100%.
Please. She would have made fun of you for being
She would
brainwashed.
have. Honestly.
Could you imagine Nell? Like, Nell, she was wicked. Wicked sense of humor, sharp tongue. Could you imagine the words she would have said to Willow and made fun of her for believing all of these things? Could you imagine the stuff that Nell could have said? How funny those scenes would have been.
Oh my gosh, that would have been so entertaining. Like, I almost need like a rewatch with Nell the actress doing like a voiceover.
But you know what? Like, Nina had this sort of fantasy, right? Where Nell returned and spoke to her at the grave. I mean, I would love to have a sequence where Willow imagines Nell and Nell kind of calls her out, right? Because, like, this is the most Willow has been able to process and to kind of come closer to the common consensus of what her reality actually has become. Right? This is her going, oh my gosh, he lied to me. I trashed my life on a lie. I lost my kids. Again, she's not inserting her choices in all of this right now, but she will get there. So she's realizing all of these things, like, what have I done? Or actually, she's not questioning what have I done. She's more saying, like, what has my life become? Had my mother told me the truth. And I would absolutely love a scene where Nell confronts her to get her to a place to take accountability. Could you imagine that back and forth to be the final shove that gets Willow to then go to find the her in her story?
I love it. I need it. It has to happen.
So she just, slapped on some makeup, touched up, and put her wedding dress on. And she's walking down the aisle. She is gonna walk down that aisle. You think she's gonna full-blown marry him?
Oh, yeah, and then torture the hell out of him.
Do you think?
If she's gonna go full Nell, like, I don't want to see any of this like half cray situation. I want full on. She's got nothing left to lose. She just trashed everything with her mother. Drew is apparently the only person in the world who she had left, and now she doesn't even have that. What happens?
So is she going to destroy him from the inside out? And how many and which kids is she kidnapping to that cabin?
All of them, Scout included.
No, why didn't I see it? I even posted the pictures. I posted the picture of Nina Obrecht kidnapping Peter. Why didn't I make sense of the fact that Willow would have kidnapped Drew, not the kids?
Who's gonna care?
No one, no one. But Nina's gonna be in a situation again. But you know what would be so funny? Just all three of them, because the picture I had posted was Peter in the bed, Nina with her aunt being like, "Oh no, we shouldn't, but we are." And so, could you imagine? Now it's like we're adding a next generation. You know what I mean? Like rounding out this family thing. And if anyone knows how to kind of navigate this, like, I kidnapped a man and trapped him in a cabin, definitely Obrecht and Nina. Could you imagine? Because that would really bring Willow into the fold. Really, that shared history together.
And that's like where she like, that's her reset.
No, but it's absolutely bonkers. But absolutely, she is not kidnapping a child. She is kidnapping Drew.
Okay, I like that so much more.
He is absolutely not in France where everyone thinks that they are.
Yes. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love the way
Wow.
your brain works. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Wow, indeed.
Okay. I just gave myself a spoiler. I didn't know. I d- I didn't know. But do you know who should know better? And honestly, Lucas has never been naive, and it's absolutely not a good look on this guy. I can't with him running around with going on off of his like 2-week relationship, and this is reason enough for him to shove Morgan in Carly's face. I cannot.
That was so gross. Other Lucas would have never done this.
No.
This is new Lucas problems.
No, and so is it okay? So I definitely love the Carly Lucas, well, up until today, like their vibe was always super fun. But the way that the conversations were going, they definitely set up this like older sister who's restraining herself while the younger sibling is like tantruming and being really naive in this moment. And he even says something to Carly about, you've been in Sonny's world too long. And I'm like, what world does he think he's entering by being with Marco? Like literally, you're just trading one lobster for another. So then how will you justify whatever Sidwell has coming next? And there is a part of me that wants Sidwell to attack his family and have one of them, not dead, but harmed, and see where Lucas falls. You're going to go run to the police? You're going to start justifying? Like, when are you going to realize you stepped into a game? You know what I mean? Like, he won't stop talking about relationships and people and feelings and all this stuff, and this is wrong. No. Like, you stepped into a game, a world, where all that matters are power moves, and that was the disconnect. He's talking like a normie in that world, and Carly is laying it out. Well, he went for Christina. He went for someone's child. He put Marco in harm's way. I know to him it sounds like a cop-out, but it is the truth. Sidwell absolutely put his kid in harm's way the moment he targeted someone else's child.
Absolutely.
He made it fair game. And the idea that, Sonny absolutely could have killed him, but he didn't because of us. And he's like, I should be grateful. I'm like, yeah, Lucas.
Yeah, actually,
absolutely. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I mean, this whole storyline, like with the whole Lucas thing and worlds, and the fact that he's so naive to understand that regardless of not being with Sonny, all the things that she said, like father my child, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, like, this is also about safety. And that part she didn't kind of get into with him. But when I saw that whole dynamic, those scenes, I could definitely see how things blow up with Brennan. Carly and Sonny could find their way back. You have a Jason. I could see that. Because they got rid of Natalia, that option for Sonny.
Yes.
I could see how this little issue brings them back.
Fair. I can too. We're just used to this whole up and down situation, so we're going to roll with it.
Exactly. And another thing I found really silly is how Christina is creating the agenda she's telling Molly about. Like, could you handle that conversation of that?
It's, Christina, I have so many, like, high hopes for her. And then she does stuff like this, like, I'm protecting my sister. Also, I'm going to steal her joy. Like, why?
So that's the thing. Like, she's telling Michael, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Michael is seeing what all of us have been seeing. And if you had opened your eyes for all of 2 seconds, you would know that there was something between Molly and Cody. And that they had something and that they were like really close. I mean, even if they're not romantically involved, like how do you think it would affect Molly that her close friend is going to date Ava and her dad's ex. Like, really?
Right?
Like, it would have for sure impacted Molly. Like, and I guess this is how they're trying to show us that Christina didn't know. She didn't know that they were friends, so she's orchestrating this whole thing again to supposedly protect Molly. But of course, this plan is going to end up hurting Molly.
Of course. What does she do that doesn't hurt Molly?
I know. And I mean, at this rate, I don't see. This is funny. You know how we said before, like, the whole in the past, like Carly and Jason, it would have been like a fake it till you make it thing. Like they would pretend to be together and then they just were. So I'm kind of seeing that vibe with Christina and Jocelyn. Because we're looking for Christina to be trained, right? We're looking for Christina to like become. But what if she never kind of becomes, but we need a figurehead and we need a strong name, and she has the Corinthos name, right? And we need the name for the strength. And who better than to protect her than Jocelyn? And it is a fake it till you make it situation with those two figuring out how to keep Port Charles safe while Joss figures out how to manage Christina, and Christina tries to manage being like the boss, because literally Port Charles depends on it and her family depends on it. And this is just the sticky situation they're in the same way that Joss got into a sticky situation that landed her with the WSB.
You know, I would love that because there's a little bit of comedy. Like, I know they're pushing a really big, intense mob war, but I would love to see the shenanigans.
But yeah, wouldn't you though? Because wouldn't it sort of set them apart? Because I think we were always picturing like Sunny and the successor, and it's a family member, and it's serious, and it's dark, and it's like, what if it starts off different vibe? Like, because let's face it, the mob in Port Charles has either been like super, super violent and sometimes straight up in the background, like very much in the background. Yes. And so, you know, sure, it could have its violent moments, but it could also have its funny moments, and eventually she can grow into it. But wouldn't it be so funny to just literally put a different twist on it, because times have changed. And again, Sunny found this life because he had to.
Exactly.
So if Christina goes into it, look at her life. She didn't grow up the way Sunny did. So they're going to have to find her have to. And the have to is going to be by accident. She stumbled into something. Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious. Imagine, could you picture? It's kind of like all those times Carly or somebody who wasn't in the mob, they had to prepare them to go into a meeting.
Yes.
Could you imagine? Because Joss has some training, so she's not going in fully blind. And I always saw that role that she'd play the Jason, the one who kind of tames and restrains the person in charge. So could you imagine like Christine thinking, okay, so like what do I do? Okay, I'm in charge. And then they have their like little thing before they go in, like good like the buddy cop vibe, like the vibe that Carly has with Anna. I always thought was really funny if they ever ended up on this bizarre mission together. But I think that would be hilarious.
Okay, I need to see some of that for sure.
Yeah, I kind of want to. Like, I kind of want to see, how do you do like this? Like everything, you know? Because I honestly was like, Sunny and Marco like bonded. Like, this is amazing. And then it turns out they didn't. Marco's like, Daddy, get him. And so that's what's going to go down. And everything feels like so serious. Like we're lighting stuff on fire. You know, people are traumatized. I want to do all that. And what does it look like when Christina and Joss do it? Like, what does it look like funnier?
Yeah, I need that. I need things to lighten up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That would be hilarious. So funny, not funny. This was a moment for me. So you know how like Dante's at the station, he sees his dad at the station, and his dad's like, you know, Dante, can't talk. He's like, I know the drill. I love you, Dad. And then the DA comes in, and she's all like, Dante, could you walk your father out of this door frame? Thank you. That'll be all. And I was like, I'm watching, and I'm like, she said so many words for Sunny to take like 5 steps. Like, why is this happening? Why? And I love these moments, right? Because I really do feel like this is the Sunny character's last hurrah as a mobster leading a mob war. I do. And so they're bringing back, especially with this DA, that like suave, sexy mobster who lured in law enforcement, because that's how he finagled his way, right? And so I love that we're getting that back, the way he like his banter back and forth with her, but also kind of throwing his power around and showing her who's in charge. And I love that moment where they're together and she's accusing him. Like, I'm just sitting there so annoyed. Like, me and Johnny are so annoyed with her scenes. I'm like, call Diane. Like, I just can't.
Right?
I can't.
Come on.
But then when Sunny just goes to her and you see mobster Sunny show up, like the one we've always known, and he kind of goes, if I'm all the things you say I am, he'd be dead. And I just
Loved it.
loved it. And she gets all scared. I'm like, you are in over your head. Like the fact that you think, yeah, you're the one. She sounded like Anna. Okay,
Yes.
this is what it seems like. Is it what it seems like? And I'm like, you know what? I think the problem was no one ever asked him that. Is it what I think it is? Is it what it seems like? You're right. I think no one asked that. I just can't.
She's too much. I wish he would still say ADA the way he did like the first time they met when he goes like ADA, like if it's like her first name and he's making fun of it.
Yes, I do. I do like the way he talks her because she bugs me.
She does, but you know they'll end up sleeping together.
Yeah. What?
It's
no.
just a rite of passage for ADA.
I know, but it's gonna be like a moment. It's
Oh,
gonna be
totally just a moment. Yeah.
A moment that sends her leaving town.
Always. It's either she'll end up dead or leaves town.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those like private romances, like with Margot, where it wasn't a romance, but they had these like private moments, and I was like, ew, I'm glad it's not public because I just can't.
Right?
Could you remember how disrespectful that was to Carly? And just being like, I can't believe he's doing this. Like overnights with this copper girl. Okay.
Yeah, it was bad. It was so bad. Oh my gosh. Did we talk about all of the things and cover all of the stuff? Yes.
I think we did. We did.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so my star moment and literally all the lines that I can't remember at this point.
I have two.
Tell me.
Okay, one is Obrecht, and she says, I'm a doctor, not a florist, and I will not be a party to baby's breath. Fave. And my other favorite was when Nina was talking to Ava and like pitching her theory. And Ava's like, look, Nina, I know mobsters and like what they kind of do to intimidate and get a message across. She's like, really? Goons changing a onesie to send a message? I was like, yeah.
So good. This is exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, do you see like this giant muscly guy taking the time to like snap every single one of those gosh darn snaps? Okay, so I gave all my stars to Obrecht. And favorite lines to her. Who are you giving your stars to?
Obrecht. She deserves all the stars.
All of them.
Look, I'm gonna give a star to not to Willow, but to the scene she shared with Nina, because we have been waiting for this moment for so long.
Yes.
And I want to be clear that I'm not giving a star to Lucas, because that was too much.
Too much. And I'm just going to give an extra star to Jason's videographic memory, because it made us realize that he hasn't had a real relationship truly since Brit.
Yeah. And I'm going to give a star to Rocco.
Yes, of course. Okay, cutie pie moment.
Absolutely, Rocco and Obrecht taking a selfie, them bonding together. I absolutely loved it. That's definitely my cutie pie moment. You can check out the cutie pie coloring on our Instagram page at cutie pie coloring. So whether it's for yourself, not for yourself, somebody else that you think would enjoy our cutie pie coloring book, it's available now on Amazon.
Love it. Oh my gosh, folks. That's a wrap. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.